Some thoughts on some of the old wives' tales that float around for rodent control in a chicken coop. Red pepper or capsaicin doesn't work. It has been tested by scientists. One good study was done by reputable scientists and peer-reviewed. Pest Management Science did a field evaluation of capsaicin as a rodent aversion agent for poultry feed. The scientists were Paul G. Jensen, Paul D. Curtis, Joseph A. Dunn, Richard E. Ostick, and Milo E. Richmond. The results: they set up multiple rodent feeding sites in small buildings with differently treated food and measured the food consumption. Initially, consumption of the poultry feed decreased dramatically when the 2,000 Scoville unit diet was offered, and remained low for 8 days. 2,000 Scoville units is like a mild jalapeno pepper. Thereafter, feed consumption increased and approached pre-treatment levels of consumption. Tolerance of rodents to the capsaicin may have increased over this time period, and, with a lack of alternative feed, animals had probably reached some hunger threshold. At another feeding station, rats did not decrease feed consumption when offered the 3,000 Scoville unit diet, approaching a sriracha sauce heat level. Previous exposure to the 2,000 Scoville unit diet may have increased tolerance to capsaicin. In addition, rats may have become more dependent on the poultry feed. This explanation is supported in part by the increase in consumption of the control diet over the 3 2-week periods that it was offered at Site 1. Consumption of the control diet did not change over the study period at the third control feeding station, but consumption of both treated diets increased over the 2-week periods they were offered. Moreover, carryover effects may have influenced feed consumption when diet treatments were changed. So capsaicin is not only useless, treating the feed at the amounts used in the study would vastly increase the cost of your feed. Chili pepper prices vary widely, but $20 to $25 per pound is pretty average. Flock owners that have reported success using chili powder in their feed report a 10% ratio of chili powder to feed is needed, around 2 pounds for every 20 pounds of commercial chicken feed. This puts the treated feed at around 14,000 to 15,000 Scoville units, around where a habanero pepper would be. If a bag of layer pellets costs $18, the 5 pounds of chili pepper needed to treat the feed might set you back 4 to 5 times that. At that point, even an expensive treadle feeder is going to pay back in 1 to 2 months. All of this can be avoided though with the right choice in buying a treadle feeder and practicing sanitation. You will need metal drums with tight lids for the bulk feed. Then clean up any paths the rodents use to travel between the food and their dens or their water source so the natural predators can help thin the ranks. For the treadle feeder, a narrow and distant treadle is needed to prevent swarming of the treadle. It needs an inward swinging door so that the feeder doesn't need blocked open for weeks during training. And there must be heavy springs that preload the door so a rat or squirrel can't just push the door open. And the system needs to have an adjustment feature, usually a threaded rod, to increase or decrease the tension on the door, and also controlling the weight needed to depress the treadle. Spare parts should be available online as there will be wear parts like the springs and wire links that will need replaced every few years. Don't expect to find such a feeder on Amazon. They charge upwards of 35% and require the manufacturer to ship feeders all over the country to the Amazon distribution centers. Even on pallets, you would be paying at least $10 to distribute each feeder to the distribution centers. The only products that can stand that kind of commission will be the Chinese-made treadle feeders like the Rent-A-Coop and Grandpa feeders. The feeder will pay for itself in saving wasted and stolen feed, or the cost of treating the feed with expensive chili powder. You can find the US-made rat-proof chicken feeder by Googling that term or visiting ratproofchickenfeeder.net. Treating chicken feed with chili pepper, or capsaicin, is a common practice used by backyard chicken flock owners to manage pests and potentially enhance poultry health and production. Because chickens, and all birds, lack the TRPV1 pain receptors required to feel the heat of capsaicin, they can consume spicy additives without discomfort. Primary uses: rodent deterrent. Adding chili flakes or cayenne to feed is a highly effective way to stop mice, rats, and squirrels from stealing it. These mammals feel the burn and will avoid the feed, while chickens remain unaffected. Egg yolk enhancement. The carotenoids in red peppers can deepen egg yolk color, making them a vibrant orange or even reddish without altering the flavor. Health and production support. Recent 2025 studies indicate that dietary capsaicin supplementation of up to 360 milligrams can improve laying rates, increase eggshell strength, and enhance intestinal health by regulating gut microbiota. Benefits and risks. Capsaicin stimulates pancreatic and intestinal enzymes, improves nutrient absorption. It acts as an antioxidant and anti-inflammatory, may help fight bacterial infections like Salmonella. Many flock keepers use it as a natural dewormer to disrupt worm colonies. The risks. Fine dust from ground peppers can cause respiratory irritation if inhaled by chickens in large quantities. Some reports suggest excessive capsaicin, above 0.5% concentration, might actually reduce feed intake due to internal irritation despite lack of taste. If you choose to supplement, it is critical to use moderation to avoid digestive or respiratory distress. Chili powders/cayenne, typically 1% of the total feed, roughly 10 to 15 grams of powder per 1 kilogram of feed. Note that this is 10 times the dose that some flock owners report as being effective.